Okay, welcome everyone back to the Tech Jobber podcast. We are the number one professional wrestling tech podcast in the world. Maybe the only one, but that's okay. And I have an amazing guest today, Mia Purnell. We met at a networking group called Epic Talks. Shout out to Melissa Wagi. And found out she is a former Ravens cheerleader. And that is also in tech sales. So, podcast where I'm interviewing cool people in tech. I thought she would be an amazing guest. So, Mia, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Chris. Excited to be here today.
Yes. So we have a lot to cover of your career. Obviously, we need to talk about your time as an NFL cheerleader. Let's start a little bit about your background.
Sure. So I'm a Miami girl now, but I am from Maryland. I went to Towson University, and as you mentioned, I spent a lot of time with the Baltimore Ravens. I spent 6 years there. I guess I'll take it a step back and say most people that did not know me might not know that I'm a country girl. Like, I grew up winding roads, lots of trees, in the sticks.
Wow.
Okay?
Where in Maryland was that?
On the Eastern Shore.
Okay.
Yeah, near Ocean City, Maryland, in
Sure.
Berlin.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So, got out of there, went to Towson, then started with the Ravens, and
Real quick, how did that come about? Were you a high school cheerleader?
yes.
Okay.
Oh, this is actually a good story. We didn't even talk about this. So basically, I was trying out for cheerleading in high school. I tried out twice, didn't make it, and didn't make it.
Wow.
And then into my junior year, I'm like, you know what? I want to try again. And there's a new coach that came in from the Redskinettes. So I'm like, okay, this lady knows what she's doing, right? And it's not going to be a nepotism type of cheerleading team. So I tried out, made varsity, no experience, did that for 2 years. And then my third year, I was cheering for the Ravens.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a quick turnaround.
Wait,
you know.
so from high school and then right to the Ravens.
Well, there was a semester of cheering at Towson University.
Okay.
But it was such a blur, such a little blip in the situation. It's just, you know.
Was this like open casting call? Did they see you at Towson and say, hey, what do you?
Oh, it's open.
It's open. Okay.
You know, you show up. There's about 500 girls there. I was 18. I had no clue what was going on. I barely knew how to do my makeup. So that's a lot.
Yeah.
But you show up and you give it your best shot. You know, I knew that I had natural talent, but also when you're an NFL cheerleader, they're looking at so many different factors. It's not just about talent.
Right.
It's about look. How does she speak? Will she represent this organization well? You know, can we trust this person with our image?
Right.
You know, so there's so many different factors. Luckily, I made that on the first try. Didn't have a repeat of the high school cheerleading situation. And that experience afforded me so many opportunities that we can definitely dive into some of those.
So real quick on the tryouts, you can't just show up and look good, right? There are some physical demands. Are they making you, like, testing your mile run or something? Like, what are they doing?
Your mile run. Hey,
I
we're
don't
not.
know. Is this like gym class or what?
No, but, you know, that was cute. But it's like they give you skills. You learn to dance.
Yeah.
And I think back in the day, it was a toe touch, you know.
Okay.
Actually, there probably should have been a run because we would run 3 miles before every practice on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Right.
So I was in the best shape of my life.
Yeah.
Clearly. I don't run now. I don't run after I retire. That's over. But so they score you based on your ability to pick up the material, to perform the material, to wow the judges. You know, some people don't have an attractive dancing face.
Right. Yeah.
I've seen it all, right?
Yeah, remember Kim Kardashian on Dancing with the Stars? She was a disaster. Remember?
Oh my gosh.
Like, she couldn't dance at all.
I didn't watch her season. Oh gosh. But yeah, so you see everything. And I feel that they're about to get into tryouts again in March. It's always a good time of year. But it's very nostalgic for me because that was 22 years ago, my very first year.
So what, I mean, let's talk about what the time kind of allotment for that is. I mean, you guys are practicing maybe not as much as the players, but during the season, it's almost as much, correct?
Well, Tuesdays and Thursdays. I think I would show up there like 6, be out of there by 9:30. You know, like I said, we're going to do that mile run in the first 30 minutes.
Sure.
And then it's time for another almost 3 hours of cardio, dancing. Wow. Outside of that, there were a lot of appearances in the community. You know, charity appearances. Let's say, Chris, you wanted to have a barbecue and you were a big Ravens fan, you wanted to have some girls out. You'd have to pay the organization $275 per hour per cheerleader, minimum 2 cheerleaders.
Right.
So that was a good little side hustle as a college student, right?
And you guys get
We got paid.
You got that whole thing.
We got,
Most
I
of
think, like 80% of that.
80% of it. Okay.
Yeah. And I was signing up for every possible appearance I could do. I loved doing appearances.
Yeah.
Also, I'll mention, as a college student, it worked out amazing because I was able to say, hey, I'm not going to have any classes on Tuesdays or Thursdays past this time.
Right.
I never did Friday classes, but maybe the
course.
very first semester at Towson, and I was like, okay, forget this.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So great appearances, great connections. I mean, what else did that entail? The cheerleading.
Wow. Okay, so because I was so young when I started, I was able to look at my teammates, see what their lives were like, trying to figure out what I wanted to major in, you know, in college, and what I wanted my path to look like. Funny thing is, half of my teammates were teachers, the other half were salespeople.
Wow.
So, looking at that, measuring up, okay, this person looks like they have a pretty fabulous life. They walk in here smiling, hopping out of their Mercedes.
Yeah.
I kind of want to know what this whole sales thing is about. And that's actually how I got the gears turning to be involved in sales.
Wow. Okay. So what years was that? And then take me to that transition.
Oh, wow. Okay, so I graduated from college in, I don't want to say that, ancient, 2005, okay? So after I did that, I knew I wanted to get into sales, but as I was looking around, I have no experience. These jobs were paying nothing.
Yeah.
Like, I think, $30,000 or whatever it was. I was like, my goodness. As a 21-year-old, I just still knew that that wasn't enough money to live. So what I ended up doing is working for Tiffany & Company in North Jersey. They got me at a job fair, and she said, yeah, you can make 60, 75 your first year.
Wow. You said, damn.
Sign me up, okay? I am 21. My friends are broke. I don't want to be broke, right?
Yeah.
So I did that actually for 3 years. Is when I took my, hiatus from Ravens. I officially thought I was retiring at 21. Didn't think I'd ever go back. But anyway, spent that time in Jersey City and worked for Tiffany & Company, understood that it's not a career. It was just something.
Sure.
You know, just a retail. I had to work on the weekends sometimes. And I ultimately knew that I wanted to figure out how to get into business sales.
Yeah.
And then I narrowed that down to tech. Yes. So that was back in 2009.
Okay.
Okay, I came back to Maryland from Jersey, and I started working for a copier company, okay?
Like selling the physical
Selling
copiers.
the physical big old copiers.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is that I had to take a pay cut, you know. Starting salary, base salary was maybe like 45, and I'm like, oh, great, here I am again.
Right.
But I was able to really capitalize on the ability to make commissions. That was another reason why I kind of fell in love with sales. I love a challenge. I love being competitive.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's also some of the attributes that come from being an NFL cheerleader.
Yeah.
You know, be competitive, show up, polished, your best.
Did that help enhance your sales? I mean, did you drop that as much as you could?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Okay, listen. My first sales job was in Owings Mills, Maryland. The training facility was down the street, right?
Yeah.
I even would carry, and this is funny, so now I see it as being kind of corny. I would carry my Ravens cheerleader briefcase. It's a little leather briefcase, pull out my laptop.
Sure.
Oh, wow, oh, yeah,
Yeah.
So that way, you have to understand your environment. We're trying to make things easy for ourselves, work things in your favor, right? Baltimore is huge on football. Go Ravens.
Yeah.
So, yeah, of course I use that.
Of course, yeah.
Also, I feel that it's a strong point of interest on a resume because they don't see a photo of you. They say, oh, she was a NFL cheerleader. She's probably polished in appearance, which helps in sales.
Yeah.
She may know how to speak to people, how to relate to people. She just may have that positive, upbeat energy.
Yep.
All these things of me, I believe to be true. So I believe it helps, definitely, just kind of.
Yeah, and let me just, as someone that looks at resumes all day, that can be such a good
standout
differentiator because she's in a pile at that point with thousands of sales people, basically. They all have the same resume. They don't have an experience.
Right.
So they're looking, okay, here's another one. Oh, I'm a Ravens fan. All right, we're going to bring her in for an interview. She probably got brought in for interviews just so people could talk about Ravens.
I think I did, and I got the job too, at the same time. It's so funny. I would prepare myself with all of these different scenarios all throughout my career about, okay, what am I going to say about this and this and this? And we would spend half of the interview talking about Ravens.
Yeah.
You get the same questions over and over again.
Yeah, there you go. So copier sales, you said you wanted to get into tech.
Yes.
When you realized the retail thing kind of had a kind of low ceiling.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So
did you know anything about tech? Did you?
Not a thing.
Okay.
This is what happened. I was, hustling my copiers, and at the time I was in Howard County, Maryland, like Columbia area.
Sure.
And cold calling every possible office building I could find. I had my little flyer with my stapled business card on it, and I was leaving things left and right. One day, I got a phone call from this company called iCore Networks. Like, hey, we saw that you left a flyer. We want to bring you in for an interview.
Wow.
Oh, okay. Cool. I was there, and at the time, I felt like it was a setup almost. I'm like, oh man, I'm on office hours. I'm supposed to be selling my copiers. Here I am taking an interview, and they're holding up my copier business card and flyer. And through the conversation, I realized, okay, I can do this. iCore Networks was purchased eventually by Vonage a few years ago.
Okay.
So they were one of the pioneers, a small company, but definitely we had a big old bite. Small team, strong force, one of the startup VoIP companies.
Yeah.
When people were still using not VoIP.
Right.
I don't even know, what do you call that? Landline?
Yeah, landlines, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we were, just introducing this new technology, just completely in a space where there was a lot of room to run, lots of runway.
Yeah. Because no one had VoIP.
No one had
Voice over
VoIP.
IP is VoIP for
Right.
everyone. But so no one had it at that point. So
No
you said,
one had it.
wow, okay, everyone's going to probably want this. This is great to get in at the ground floor.
Yeah. We even had a situation where you could put your phone, Cisco desk phone, inside of your bag, pop it out on site, plug it up to the internet, take calls.
Wow.
It was like a demo.
Yeah.
I pulled it out of my Ravens briefcase, the leather
That
briefcase
helps.
bag,
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'll also say about my experience at iCore Network is that I had the best, sales manager and VP of sales. Amazing.
Yeah.
Because I've had several other experiences after that, but still those principles of getting out there, coming back to the office, counting your business cards that you've collected throughout the day, it was such a structure that proved to make me successful throughout other companies as well.
So obviously things are a bit different now, which we'll get into, but talk about the day-to-day then selling kind of IT infrastructure, basically.
Yeah, sure.
That's in-person meeting, your lunches, your dinners, your sporting events. What was that like?
It wasn't as sexy as that in the beginning,
Okay.
but it does get there. But at iCore, the first outside sales tech job, I would get to the office. We'd have a meeting every morning at 8:30. Talk about the successes of the previous day.
Yeah.
Run through like a quick training of something of sort. It was just such a strong, building environment. You're learning from your coworkers. You're learning from the experience in the room or just different issues that people would bring up. After that, everybody hits the phones. You're on the phones from 9:15 to 10. If you make 40 calls and you set 2 appointments, you've had success.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
After that, everybody's out of the office. Get outside, go talk to people, go cold calling.
So these weren't necessarily the meetings you set up. These are just
This is
get
cold
out there.
calling and some meetings that you set up. So if I set up a meeting in a certain building, I'm going to knock on every door in that building.
Yeah.
I'm going to walk up to the directory, see who's there, try to figure it out, try to get my story straight.
Yeah.
Even if I didn't have a meeting in that building that day, I'm going to tell somebody that I did.
Yeah.
Sorry, salespeople, sometimes we have to finesse a little bit.
I was going to ask, what were some of your favorite tactics to get through that, that's whatever, secretary or front office or front desk person?
Well, let me tell you of a natural tactic. Being a woman in sales is such a strong attribute. People don't understand the ability to finesse the front desk guy. I mean, when it's a woman, it's a little bit harder. Then we're screwed, right? Yeah. But hey, there's a lot of opportunities to utilize, my soft, unalarming, non-threatening appearance to get into a door. Right. Right.
Yeah.
If I know a name of someone, Google wasn't even a big thing when I started in tech sales, which is horrible. But LinkedIn definitely wasn't invented then. But if I know a name of someone, I would say, hey, I'm here to see this person. Yeah. They come out and they're probably like, who was this girl? Hey, how are you? But, I would finesse my way in and eventually land a meeting, and most times, well, half the time I would land a sale. Yeah.
So doing the VoIP then, so were you part of the Vonage acquisition?
No, I left before then. So after that, I always had interest in some of the larger organizations. I believe at the time there was a level 3. They were really, doing their thing at the time. So I had probably had that in the back of my head. But then Verizon was something that I always thought, wow, that's a solid company. Everybody knows Verizon. That's would be an ideal situation for me, utilizing my experience with VoIP and this skill set that I've, nurtured and had lots of experience in at that point. So I'm just going to hold that there. But before I got to Verizon, I started with Cogent Communications, which was straight network. We were selling gig circuits, for $500 a pop. And that's probably still a pretty good price to this day.
So what is that exactly?
Yeah, so for organizations that utilize a lot of bandwidth, they would need gig circuits. And it was a part of time where people were not using as much internet as they do now. There are not as many devices. I mean, you and I probably have 5 devices each, our phone, our iPad, our computers, et cetera. And when you're looking at organizations through that time period, they were realizing, oh, we need bandwidth now. Yeah. So,
because it's here.
At Cogent, we were able to sling out those gig circuits, 10 gig circuits here or there, very transactional. Yeah. But through that experience, I was able to pair the VoIP knowledge with the network knowledge.
So you're stacking your skill
I was stacking some things together.
And knowledge, and your ability, you're getting more comfortable talking about some of these technical aspects.
Exactly. And then when you pair things together that way and you walk into a potential customer, you can recognize these opportunities that much quicker. Yeah. Because, all right, I've done this, I've done that. So, Cogent, and then there was XO Communications. All right, XO Communications, they did the phone service, they did the network through other providers. There were a lot of MPLS opportunities that I worked on there, which means multiple offices in an organization connecting on a single network.
Yeah.
You know, lots of different flavors of that. So I was at Exo Communications for, I want to say, 3 or 4 months. And then Verizon made the announcement to purchase us.
Oh, wow.
And I was both a little scared and nervous. The whole office was nervous because we didn't know if it meant
you're out.
we're out. They just want to build onto their 5G, you know, plan, and the employees are going to be gone.
Yeah.
We had no clue what to do, right? I mean, well, I stayed. Some people left. I'm so thankful that I stayed because I spent almost 7 years at Verizon where I was multiple-time President's Club earner.
Yeah.
And working for Verizon and being able to still utilize and pull from that first tech job experience and talk to different products in a large portfolio of services, then you're adding cybersecurity. Yeah. You know, so it was a fantastic transition.
What does that look like at a massive company like Verizon? All right, so you made President's Club sales. Where are they flying you to?
Oh,
what is it? Is it bags? Is it trips? What are we talking here?
Okay, this is very interesting. So the first President's Club was all expenses paid, a week in Maui.
Wow.
I had never been to Hawaii. Yeah. I was like, oh my goodness, this is gonna be amazing. So I went, and every night when we returned back to the hotel, there was a gift for us. Bose headsets, like Maui Gym sunglasses. I still actually have, but they work so good that I can't see my heads-up display in my car, so it's kind of weird, right? So just different little things, and they also like gave us like $500 for a few dinners that they didn't cover because we had a few nights out. But it was rolling out the red carpet.
How many people would make that?
My very first year, it was segmented a bit because they did that acquisition of Exo, you know, a little bit prior. So it was about, on that trip, maybe 80 plus significant others.
Wow.
It was fantastic. I need to go back to Maui, actually. I need to look at tickets when I leave here.
Yeah. Wow.
So that was, I mean, I really can't say enough about, you know, if you go out and you do the work, you hit the numbers, President's Club opportunities, they don't treat the rest of the employees like that. Right. You're getting some new stuff. All right, so the following year, I said, you know what, I got to make President's Club again. And I want to talk through how I got there. Yeah. But that second trip was to Switzerland, St. Moritz, Switzerland. Wow. However, if you guys remember, the pandemic. Okay. Right?
So we're in 2020 now.
Yes. Okay. I won the 2018 President's Club. This was the 2019. The trip was scheduled for March 2020. Right. We were supposed to leave on March the 13th. Right? Yeah. So exactly a week before, and I happened to be in Miami visiting a friend, right? I'm like, oh man, what's going on with this thing in the news? Something happening in Asia, you know. And at that point, President's Club was even bigger accomplishment for me because out of the eligible 8,700 sales reps, they only took the top 125 globally. Wow. So I was that girl, y'all, making all the money, seriously. But so I was here in Miami. My manager calls me and he says, Mia, they're gonna cancel the trip, but they're gonna give you $25K after taxes. What? Okay, I'll take it. Wow. You know, we'll hang out. So I was able to, you know, enjoy that little gift, and they sent other things. They sent this big plaque, and at that point, I was a part of the President's Circle because I had multiple years of that under my belt. So
what is that? That's you hit it a few times in a row? Yeah. Is President's Circle? Okay.
Right. So we had the opportunity, it was a Zoom call, but our CEO of our business sector, you know, she met with us, and it was pretty cool. Yeah. Definitely cool experience.
Okay, so we're in 2020.
Yes, but let me tell you how I got there to the President's Club thing, because I think this deserves a good listen. And if you're in sales today and utilizing tools, I'm a big tools person. I don't know if can I plug and say what tool it was? Yeah. Okay, Zoom Info, which used to be called Discover.org, made me lots of money. All of your contacts are there. They even tell you the insights of what they may be interested in purchasing and what they're currently using as far as software, hardware, down to the type of laptops that they utilize. I mean,
So you would just have the targets from Zoom Info right away.
I would say I'm looking for companies in this area that are 1,000 employees to 5,000 employees, because that's like the mid-market sector that I was in before I got my promotion at Verizon. And it would spit out the IT directors' names, their phone numbers.
Let me ask you, who was the target? I mean, are you going to the CIOs? You said IT directors. Could a network infrastructure director be the guy? He'd be able to sign the check for you, or would you have to go above?
Depends on the organization.
Okay.
I know I had a very large hospital, a customer up in Maryland, and fortunately for us, the infrastructure director was that guy.
Yeah.
As the other levels above him were more so, I don't want to say figurehead, but you know, figurehead.
Sure.
So he sat through the day-to-day, and he also signed and was the main influencer for anything that went through. So that was great. But then in other organizations, you may find you need to get the buy-in of the CIO paired with the CFO, depending on how much money we're spending. Right.
A lot of people signing off type of thing.
Yes.
So was Verizon, was it a local territory where you're meeting the people, obviously before COVID, or just local? So you made President's Club just Maryland.
Well, I'll tell you about that.
Damn.
That actually, I'm sorry, I get sidetracked, guys. So with the President's Club situation, there was a federal systems integrator that is now changed its name. It's joined another, but they were a Verizon customer. They were only spending money on POTS lines, plain old telephone service, maybe spending $700 a month. Nothing.
Yeah.
I had it in my deck. I was like, oh, okay, whatever, because the opportunity for us to target new logo customers had a bigger bang for its buck.
Gotcha.
So, you know, I still was always, you know, making sure that I was checking in with everyone within my account base, because the last thing you want as a sales rep is for one of your accounts to call your manager and say, hey, who's my rep? Right. I don't know who this person is. You guys are going to know.
We're paying her? Well, what are we paying her off this account? They don't even know who she is.
Y'all are going to know me, my face, my Ravens bag. Okay, I wasn't carrying the Ravens bag after Verizon. Right. But I happened to turn that little account into $3.3 million on an RFP win. Yeah. The only reason they knew to, or they engaged us in an RFP is because I kept blowing them up to get a meeting. Yeah. It's like, okay, Mia, you know, we have this RFP, oh my God, I can't talk, RFP coming up, and we need another vendor to participate. Verizon, sure, why not? The reason why they did not have the warm and fuzzies was due to the relationship with the last rep. And also maybe some service issues. You know, things like that can sting and affect the next rep. But we were able to go in there, present an undeniable solution. I engaged with solution architects and project managers that put together an amazing presentation. It was a room filled with about 20 of the customer on the customer side and about 15 of us. So it was a lot of people in a big room. Can I curse? I want to say big ass room so bad.
Go ahead.
It was a big ass room, guys. And it was high pressure, high stakes. At this point, I had been working on this RFP for about 6 months. Oh. It was probably took up 90% of my day. Yeah. And if we had not have won, it would have been horrible. Yeah. What a waste of resources and time. But you have to take those risks. You know, as a salesperson, we like to win. We are here to compete. We're here to win. And when you win, you make money. When you solve problems, you make money.
What would be, I mean, for everyone, a lot of people are thinking about tech sales and stuff like this. All right, so you nailed the 3.1?
I think it was 3.3, but then we added additional.
Okay.
So I think by the time we were done with them, right before they did a merger with another company, we were like 4.6.
Okay, so $4.6 million RFP. What is your take there? Is it a
Y'all.
I mean,
Let me tell you,
what are we talking?
I think about this often, and I was thinking about it while I was living it, but it was a lifestyle change, okay?
Wow.
So at Verizon, let's back this up. So when EXO purchased us, I think the base salary was maybe $90,000. You know, at the end, base salary was $140, but you're doing double, if not 2.5 times that in total compensation.
Sure.
When blowing out your number. And looking at the larger picture of it, you're thinking, okay, I brought in 3.3 on the original RFP, but you know, you have a lot of resources that have to get paid out.
Yeah.
Salespeople drive the revenue for the organization. We make the money so that the company can cut the checks and pay everybody's bills, right? So it seems like a small portion, but for me, I was just happy to be able to solve this customer's problems and become a trusted resource.
Yeah.
Because they had no problem picking up the phone for everything else that they needed until they changed to a different company, and then that actually went to somewhere else. And at that point, I took a promotion.
Yeah.
But this was still in the mid-market space.
Okay.
Because it happened that the company was probably 5,000 employees, and then it grew to 14,000, you know, through the time that I had them. And then, yeah, it's kind of slipped away to enterprise after that.
Yeah. So, I mean, what would you make off that, though?
Make
I
off
mean,
of
a $4.6 million RFP.
I mean, it's hard to think about it, but I would say the commission dollars per year were over 200,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
Guys, I was balling. I was balling.
That's pretty. Okay, so we're at Verizon. COVID hits. You're an expert at, I mean, your entire career, you've been finessing front desk people. You've been getting to decision makers. Now everything is work from home. What was that change like?
It was very dramatic, very much so. So what we did find is that business was great because these companies now need to secure their networks because you have people working from home.
Yeah.
You know, you have the need for greater bandwidth, you know, to make sure that your applications can reach your remote employees. So as a whole, and I think probably all companies that were similar to Verizon, selling networks, selling cybersecurity, they did really well during the pandemic due to the circumstances of the new workforce.
Sure, because now everyone that used to be in a hopefully secure office is now logging in from their whatever,
Right.
you know, unknown Wi-Fi's at their house, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so there was a mad scramble basically to secure when it became clear we were going to be at home for a while, that business went up.
Yes. And you know what? There was a lot going on that year. So you had the pandemic, you had the social injustice. The biggest part that I would say is just to have that human aspect, you know, when you're talking to someone. It was nothing to just ask, hey, how are you doing today? You know, how are things in New York? You know, just kind of breaking away from the monotony of a business conversation.
Sure.
Be human, because 2020 gave us the opportunity to do that, right? So that's one thing I think I utilized, just being concerned. I was in Maryland all by myself, you know, no pets, nope, just hanging out, stuck in the house, on Zoom calls all day.
Yeah, those were the days.
Right.
Okay, so you were able to shift pretty seamlessly to the remote sales. Okay, so
At the time, we weren't working in the office every day anyway. It was like maybe Mondays and Fridays, half a day you're in the office, half a day you're not. And the other time was utilized in front of customers. Yeah. So it was a very easy transition for me personally. But the part that became difficult was with the customers. You know, you're not able to see them.
It's a little tougher.
In their space. Yeah. So just be human, have those interactions.
Okay. All right. So then where do we go from there?
Let's see. Okay. Well, guys, in Maryland, everything was shut down. The only things that you could really get to were the supermarket and Costco, and I'm a big Costco girl, okay? So I was there every week still. But I came to Miami to visit a friend in April of 2021 and realized that it was very much open.
Yeah.
You know, people are outside, the sun is shining, there's palm trees everywhere. I was like, you know what, this is it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna move here. And the moment that I knew for sure I was gonna move, I was in a red convertible rental, it was a Mustang, and I was driving across the Miami Avenue Bridge into Brickell. And I'm like, first of all, what is this? This did not exist back in, 10 years ago. What is this place? I'm moving here. And then 3 weeks later, I moved.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, that was quick.
That's all I needed. I was like, oh, this is all. So at that point, I moved, and I talked with my manager saying, hey, this is the situation. And slowly but surely, they were trying to creep us back into normalcy. Like, okay, every other Monday, guys, we'll come into the office. And I'm like, crap, I'm in Miami. Yeah. So let me figure this out. An opportunity popped up on the enterprise space, and I took it. That was based in Florida. At that point, you're dealing with Fortune 500 companies. And instead of having 30 accounts or 40 accounts even, you have 5.
Yeah.
5 to 7, depending on the size. And I was able to then utilize all the skills through my career at this point into a much more focused set, and the opportunity to make more money is there because you're just. Also, I would say I would be pulling from the Tiffany and Company experiences of luxury, you know, because that just gives you that extra. You take the extra step because people are paying, paying top dollar for something. They are going to expect more from you. So I would say that I took throughout my career as well, just because it was part of my everyday life for so long.
Yeah, so it's kind of like your journey between Ravens, Tiffany, and then you started getting the tech skills. You start kind of becoming a formidable saleswoman because now you have the knowledge, the polish, and you have the good story to tell.
Right.
So.
Yeah. And, something that's very real that I think people talk about more nowadays is burnout.
Yeah.
I experienced burnout. In that enterprise role at Verizon, it was very real. So at that point, I decided, hey, I need to take a break. Thank God I was able to say, I'm going to take a break for 9 months. I'm just going to enjoy Miami.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I did. That's when I met you guys.
Yeah.
So sales can take you places that I never thought I was going to go. I grew up single parent household, didn't have any money, but through this career choice and me, pushing through any obstacles and finding these opportunities to grow business, I was able to find success.
Yeah. Yeah. And so let's talk about some tips you would give. People come to me all the time. I want to get into tech. And I'm like, okay, that could mean a million things.
Right.
What do you think would match up well with you? They're like, I don't know. So for someone like you, okay, you've done the high level tech sales, cybersecurity, network sales. What are some tips you would give people that want to get into it or people that don't know what they want to get into? What are some things like, okay, if you're this type of person, give this a good look?
I mean, I guess I would ask them to focus on what their interests are. Like, there's so many different segments you could go or ways you could go, Something that I probably did was taking a look at where you could earn the most money.
Sure.
Because after Verizon, I did work for a cybersecurity firm after my break. But I feel that having a conversation, asking questions of the people that are in those positions to help you is always key.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to ask. One thing that I see that's happening now are the workshops. Those workshops, tech boot camps.
Right.
Yeah, the boot camps didn't exist when I was,
Yeah.
coming up in tech.
And so if you were, so obviously like the copier sales kind of transitioned into the VoIP sales, but right now you could do one like the one with Careerist, and then you're just a couple weeks right into tech sales.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Take advantage of that because I'm assuming these individuals have all of this knowledge that they're trying to pour into you.
Yeah.
And I am a huge advocate for anybody who wants to get into sales, especially tech. I love being a Black woman in sales, in tech. I love being the only woman at the table most of the time. Just for instance, I had a meeting yesterday, a very large organization. They own a lot of household brands, let's just say that. $14 billion revenue. I'm sitting at a table with 4 gentlemen, and it never gets old for me. It's an empowering feeling. I don't know. I don't back down from that challenge of being the only woman in the room and sometimes the only minority, and sometimes both.
And both is even
at the same time.
Even more rare, right?
Yes.
So what's your day-to-day like now? Obviously, you used to be, getting in front of people physically. What's it like these days?
Well, yeah. So down here in Miami, we can get in front of people, right in 2021, I guess still. But for me, every day is different in tech sales, which is why I love it. Like if I had to wake up and do the same thing every day, I'd probably poke my eyes out, So everything from, and this is probably not the best habit, but before I get out of bed, I look at my emails on my phone to see what's on fire. Yeah. What is on fire? What do I need to snap into right now?
And that would be a customer's, the technology is, something's messed up, you need to get to support quickly.
Exactly. Okay. Like who needs help? That's my first thing because as a sales rep, you're running your own business essentially. So you need to make sure that you manage that expectation, you protect your reputation with the customer, with your company, and I feel that taking care of the customer is what provides you the success.
Okay. So, is it a lot of Zooms? Is it
yes. Okay. So
persons?
After I check my email.
Check the email.
If there's nothing on fire, I'm like, okay, great. Yeah. Well, let's check the schedule, see if there's anything that needs to be moved around. I do have a lot of virtual meetings still. Yeah. And I think that's something that everybody sees, It's much more convenient, it's efficient. You can get a lot more packed into the day if you're meeting virtually. So I meet with my project management teams. I have lots of customer meetings. And currently, I'm a senior account executive with a company called Future Tech Enterprises based in Fort Lauderdale. So that company's been around for 27 years. I focus on the commercial side of business. Okay. But it was founded working with federal systems integrators, all of the big ones. Okay. For the over 27 years. At this point.
So if anyone, when you pitch, if anyone needs your services, what would that look like?
Yes. Well, my focus is for customers that are 10,000 employees plus that are looking to streamline. Well, everyone's looking for efficiencies. I just throw that out and just say that. But what we do that is on fire right now is we're turning CapEx spends into OpEx. So that involves a lot of conversations with both the CFO and the CIO at the same time, and utilizing our hardware solutions, software, and then we even have the ability to put up a data center within a short amount of time. Wow. I want to tell you something about this data center. It's called iFortress. So if you're watching this right now and your organization needs a pop-up data center that's fireproof, dustproof, airtight, everything, we could do that for you. And interesting part on the sales side is that the revenue is $1 million. So if your revenue cut is 25%,
Yeah.
one sale of an iFortress awards you $250,000.
Wow.
So I just need a couple of those a year, guys. I mean,
Yeah.
if anybody needs,
Yeah.
I know
I'd
that's
say so.
wild. That had me excited about the opportunity outside of all of the other ways to really get sticky with the customer. And that's a term that's used a lot in tech in regards to making sure that your customers have so many different aspects of your portfolio that they're not going anywhere. And if they do, it won't be easy.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So if anyone wants to, you say, take the CapEx, move it to OpEx?
Yes.
Just real quick, give us a.
Okay. So our CEO came up with this term called PC as a service, because I know everyone in tech has something as a service, right? And with this, you know, everyone overlooks hardware, like your computer, your laptop. So he's taken this idea of performing an automated refresh cycle. PC as a service. It's literally making sure that an organization is refreshing a third of their equipment on cycle every single year so that we cover the full 4-year refresh cycle.
Okay.
Sometimes it's a 3-year cycle, depends on the savviness or the needs of the organization. But that creates then a steady revenue stream, you know, for the organization, for the sales rep, and it also keeps the employee morale of your customer up. Because if you're a brand new employee, you're getting this shiny new device and you're
Sure.
getting a new one every so often, you're able to do your job. You have less IT tickets because, you know, if you got an old crusty
newer.
machine,
Right.
you know, there's so many different things that people just overlook because, you know, hardware might not be as sexy as some of the software that we sell or cybersecurity, that it's overlooked. But in order to get to utilize all these different tools, you kind of need the hardware part.
Exactly.
You know, PC as a service, I think is genius.
Okay. So you need
Very
PC as a
simple.
service.
Very, very simple.
Or a pop-up data center.
Right. Yeah.
Me as your girl.
That's right. That's right.
Any last bits of advice? There's a lot of young people that will be watching this, considering tech sales.
Yeah.
You've developed an amazing life doing it. But yeah, I mean, anything else for them?
Take the jump. Do it. Do it. It's amazing. I mean, you can attend one of these boot camps now, have all this information right in front of you that can turn you into making hundreds of thousands of dollars or multiple six figures a year. And to be in sales in general is it's strong. The world turns when something gets sold. That's how I see it. I feel that people sometimes are turned off by what they think selling is, but I've always said selling is solving problems.
Yeah.
I solve problems for a living. I don't sell anything.
Yeah.
Because if I'm listening to my customer intently enough and I hear something, I know what to put in front of them. And I also know how not to come off as a used car salesman. You know,
Sure.
I'm not that. I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to be consultative. I'm going to understand what your needs are and play into that.
Yeah.
You know, and that's how you have success in sales. That's how you have fun. And that's how you feel good about what you do, because you know that after that conversation, this person's going to look good to their boss because they're doing something great for their organization on picking up on this technology with me today.
Yeah.
Because I was smart enough, or I was focused enough, paying attention enough to the signs that they need what we have.
Right.
Right.
And one more thing I wanted to point out about Mia. So she jumped back in. She took 9 months off, right? She takes 9 months off. It's a terrible year for hiring last year. But with her background and skill set, she was able to get another job like that.
And guess what? I'm telling you guys, 20 plus years later, that Ravens thing still rings. It's on my LinkedIn. It's on my LinkedIn. It's not on the resume anymore. But but it's there, and it's still something that stands out. So I would say, getting back to people who are interested in tech, do it. do it, you know, and bounce around like I did within the different areas of tech.
Yeah.
Why not?
And I think that can be scary for people that they're like tech, you know, okay, I have a play on my phone, my laptop. I don't know anything about that. But
Right.
they will give you the tools.
Yes.
You know, like Careerist. They'll give you the tools and help you interview and spruce up your resume too. So, okay, any final thoughts?
I mean, I could talk about sales all day. So I would just say thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. I love when anyone, you know, just stops me or asks me about getting into tech. Like, I have a whole thing. I'm like, okay, girl, this is what we need to do.
Yeah.
And then do this. And like, I have those conversations probably 3 times a month with a different person.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, you've developed a great life from it, so I can see that. So, okay, well, Mia, thanks again. This was great.
Yes.
I hope if anyone was on the fence about getting into tech sales and you kind of align with some of the things she said, this could be a great career for you. So, we'll catch you guys next time.
Bye.